I'm still hung up on Allison Argent. It turns out I'm not alone. Teen Wolf as a whole was also hung up on her. Even worse than I could ever be, Teen Wolf was so pitifully hung up on Allison Argent that the MTV show could easily be split in two. There are the seasons where before Allison died and after Allison died. And the ones that came after never ever really got over her. I'm not saying that the show was bad after she left, but I am saying that seasons 2 and 3 represent Teen Wolf at its very best. When Allison died, the show lost a vital organ. Its heart was removed. And Teen Wolf was hung up on Allison Argent ever since. Who could blame him? I felt the same way. Allison was a fascinating character. She was sophisticated and sexy, badass and altruistic. She was symbolic of the weaponization experienced by young women. What made her unforgettable on the show was her selfless heroism, the fact that she remained a fine-tuned weapon while holding tightly onto her compassionate heart. As Bianca Lawson would say, she maintained balance. Her death was a blow the show never recovered from. It carried the loss of Allison Argent like a bruise. It's poetic that a show that features so many supernatural creatures with healing powers, the show itself, though, it couldn't heal itself from the memory of her. Teen Wolf stumbled its way through 3 more seasons without Crystal Reed, without Allison. And that brings us to 2023 and Teen Wolf the movie. And fuck all of you, this movie was fine. It was fine. All right? In fact, it was kind of fascinating. Fuck all of you that didn't like it. I love how Teen Wolf was so hung up on her that years after the show ended and a film was made by some tiny miracle, the central focus was on Allison. Teen Wolf the movie was all about bringing her back to life, back to us, and most importantly, back to them, back to Teen Wolf. I'm interested in symbolism, subtext, philosophy, writing, and composition. I'm entirely unconcerned with how Allison was resurrected in the film, and I'm also completely unbothered by it. I'm focused on the symbolism, subtext, and poetry of her resurrection, not in its effect on the lore or its believability. I don't give a fuck. I think it was a brilliant choice to devote the film to Allison Argent's resurrection. As I've covered, none of the characters of the show ever truly got over her. The show's framework didn't get over her either. Let's have some one-on-one therapy, just for fun. Just you and your cult boyfriend. Hello, I am now your therapist. Do you ever feel wistful? It's the film's favorite word. Do you ever feel wistful? Do you ever experience melancholy? I'm sure you do. Do you have a ghost from your high school years? A ghost of a lover, perhaps, someone that got away. Let's get even more literal. Teen Wolf was a show made for teenagers in the 2010s. Look at the big teen shows of the era. The Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, and Teen Wolf. Shows about how young people felt haunted by their dead friends. It's only got worse over time. More and more teenagers have more and more dead friends, and I believe they must feel more and more haunted and wistful as they grow up. I certainly have had plenty of dead friends, ghosts from high school that I can't get over, no matter how hard I try. The tragedy of the world that we live in is that I'm far from alone in that. In fact, I think a lot more young kids today have a lot more dead friends than I ever had. In Teen Wolf the movie, Allison is symbolic of all of that. She's the phantom pain of your adolescence. She's the hallucination you can't unsee. She's the trauma you experienced in your youth that you were never able to confront. She's the grief you never processed. She's that wish you keep hidden. She's the only secret you ever kept, and she is back. This gives our characters, and us vicariously, right? This gives our characters a chance to encounter their high school trauma, face her head on and finally feel it all. Her resurrection is equal parts terrifying and beautiful. She's a villain for most of the film, hunting down our heroes. You can't run from your trauma anymore, not when it's got a silver arrowhead aimed at your skull. It's deeply confrontational symbolically, and the film gives Scott plenty of opportunities to explore the deeper meanings of Allison's second coming, deeper meanings of the zombie, of a weaponized teenage girl with amnesia. He is nearly killed by Allison, by the poetic symbol of his own trauma and grief. He's ultimately able to empathize with her, with his trauma, and humanize her. He's saved by her, and then saves the day with her. He loves her and she loves him. By fully processing his own trauma and grief, he was able to humanize the woman who was the cause of it all. Teen Wolf's divine move was how it ultimately demonstrated to us how we can heal. Like supernaturally heal, like we see the characters in the show do. Like this is a very poetic show, and it actually has a lot to teach us if we just paid attention, right? I love this show, actually. I think it's great. The film was really good, too. How can we heal ourselves? We only truly heal ourselves by healing others. The sensation that triggers the healing is pain, intense pain, but it's worth it. Confront and humanize your pain. That's the divine move. That's the startling humanity at Teen Wolf's supernatural core. The film stylistically completes the therapy session Styles had with Miss Morell way back in the second season. She said, if you're going through hell, keep going. Teen Wolf the movie shows us what happens at the end of it all, at the end of hell. It makes its characters glad they kept going. They didn't give up. They didn't give up what mattered. Teen Wolf never gave up on Allison Argent. She was the one ghost they refused to give up. Teen Wolf the movie was pretty good. There are problems with it, of course, but I was thrilled by Allison the entire time. I thought she was fascinating to interact with and made me confront some things like within myself, and that's so cool. I was really into that. Crystal Reed was outstanding, and I loved watching her. I appreciate teen shows and films that can get extraordinarily deep. Teen Wolf was a special sort of thing overall. I think it deserves more serious attention. It can be so good that it's intoxicating. The only reason I haven't made more videos about it is because I've been extremely sick. Trust me, almost every character warrants an analysis. I'm just making half of these fucking videos from a hospital bed, and I can't devote a whole lot of time to it. But I'd love to. I mean, every season should be studied. There's so much poetry unexplored within Teen Wolf. Maybe when I'm feeling better, and I am determined to feel better eventually, I'll go season by season and character by character, but I'd sure love it if someone watching this video took that silver bullet for me. I'd love to see analysis videos of Teen Wolf that didn't suck. Because most of them do. Most of them don't get it. I've covered a lot of stuff that most people don't read too deeply into. I'm used to it. I'm used to the stuff that I like to cover being treated as like brain rot trash by others, even by fans of the shit that I cover. Like I don't know why they like it. They like it because it's stupid. I don't know. I think they're all fucking brilliant. But I guess like I'm a psycho for thinking that. But damn. Teen Wolf has been uniquely overlooked when it comes to serious thought. Just so you know, y'all don't look as cool as you think you do when you're trying to dunk on something you never understood in the first place. You think it's so dumb, but it's 10 times smarter than y'all will ever be. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, the hubris, the fucking hubris. Oh, man. Allison Argent was a great character. I'm still hung up on her. In a good way. Thanks for watching.